Hi there, my name is Minie. I'm an Italian special needs mom based in Sydney, and today I want to share with you my feeding hacks for picky eaters and for tube weaning, in case your baby is fed through a tube. Disclaimer, I'm nobody. I'm not a speech therapist, nor a doctor, nor a dietitian. Do not take what I say in my videos as a recommendation for your particular situation, as I'm simply sharing our experience, hoping that it can give you some extra ideas during your journey, which should be guided by qualified professionals. Also, consider for a second all the numerous anatomical aspects of feeding: the lips, the functionality of the tongue to move around food, the teeth, the palate, and the muscles behind it that allow sucking skills, the ability to swallow, the larynx, the digestion, any reflux issues. If your child spits a lot, coughs or vomits during or after feeds, there might be an underlying condition that precludes them to feed well. That's also why you should never take generic information from the internet and blindly apply it to your case. Talk to professionals, get your child checked by speech pathologists, ENT team, dietitians, even gastroenterologists. They need to see how your child handles food in their mouth, how the palate is formed, if there are any digestive issues. On one hand, they know what to look for. On the other hand, you know your child. Which brings me to my first tip. Work as a team to find answers and to plan a strategy. You need specialists and they need you. You need their knowledge on the matter and they need you to describe exactly what you see at home. They should also clarify what you should do at home and give you all the tools that you need to learn what to monitor, what to do, what to expect. Ask as many questions as you need, write down notes, and if at home you still have doubts, don't be afraid to ask the same questions over and over again until you feel as knowledgeable as you can be to help your child. My second tip is all about utensils. Use appropriate utensils, but also learn how to experiment. Depending on your child's age and or skills, there might be so many spoons, forks, cups, bottles, bowls, plates you could use. You have no idea. I still have to open the very fancy, very expensive silicone spoons that I bought at a baby expo while I was pregnant. Will I ever use them? Maybe at my child's wedding. My point is, ditch whatever you deem nice and pick what is actually helpful. By saying this, I mean two things. The first one is go for what your speech therapist recommends. Whether your child is in line with their age or they have feeding delays, your specialist might recommend smaller spoons, softer or harder spoons, angled spoons, sippy cups, open cups, straws. Forget about fancy. Who cares when your child is not eating well? Our speech gave us some horrible maroon spoons at a certain point. Like maroon. Is that even a color? Who made this color choice? The Flintstones? But you know what? Those spoons have been so good that they even lost their gloss for how much we've used and washed them. So now they're even uglier. But who cares? They worked. Awesome! The second thing I mean by use what is actually helpful is don't be afraid to use very unconventional things. For example, once our baby girl got the clearance to drink from an open cup, our speechy gave us a small transparent cup. One day our girl was sick of that cup. She wouldn't drink a thing. And we were starting our tube reduction. So we really needed her to drink from a cup. She saw me drink my espresso while I was feeding her, and boom, the idea. Do you want an espresso too? I say. Her face just turned into, heck yeah! I took a clean espresso cup, poured her formula into it, and chin chin, we drank coffee together. She didn't realize that it was exactly the same formula from her cup. She just wanted to have something different from her usual routine. So, as long as it's safe to do so, for example, don't go for open cups if there's risk of aspiration. Don't give in to desperation. Think outside the box, be creative, enjoy the ride. My third tip is all about the sensory aspect of feeding. Be the director of the movie and figure out the best soundtrack. Sensory aspects can be related to the food, the temperature, the texture, the smell, the taste. Try to notice if your child has preferences. Do they prefer cold or hot foods? Savory to sweet? A particular color? Is there a particular texture they dislike? Sounds. Is there music? Are there noises? Is there people talking? Sometimes there's not much that you can do, for example, if your neighbors are renovating. But other times you will be able to set up whatever sounds your child prefers. Ambient. Is the light too strong? Is it too dark? Are there flashy lights that might bother your child? Is there mess around? Does the room somehow distract your child? I didn't even want to mention, is there someone smoking around? Of course, no smoke around kids. You are the leader of the feeding session, so don't be afraid to tell others to shush, to go away, to help set the scene to increase the chances of success. Which also brings me to my next point. Experience. You need to be a performer for your child. Once the room is set and the foods have a good variety that your child might like, it's your job to talk to your child, guide them, show that you love the same food. Depending on whether you are weighing their food or not, you might be able to prepare your plate and then put part of your food into their plate. Make sounds, faces, smiles. Everything about the food is simply fantastic. Show that the smells are just so good. Oh, and did you see how good it looks? Yum! And do you know what I used to make this? The best ingredients possible. This is so nutritious. Let's see if you like it as much as I do. At the beginning, for example, I was literally eating in my baby's face. I was showing her how much I was enjoying that food, how calm my breath and my voice were, how eating was making me happy. And I reckon this helped immensely. Play with them. They might use the feeding session to explore new sounds, so let them do those sounds, even imitate them. Show them table-appropriate toys that they can keep in their hands while you are feeding them, if you need to. Here I might say, in our household, we went from feeding our girl in two, one of us was giving her food, the other was entertaining her, to what we're doing right now, which is, this is meal time, girl. We will play later. Okay to music, but no screens. This would have not been an option during the tube reduction. While we were doing the tube reduction or tube weaning, everything was aimed to get her to eat orally as many grams as possible. Now we are at the point where we want to teach our girl the beauty of our cultural background. For Italians, meals are a ritual. We converse around our food. We love our food. We want meals to be a positive, nourishing experience. But when you're struggling to get rid of the nasogastric tube, cultural backgrounds are the least of your concerns, believe me. This brings me to the fifth tip. Boost the intakes. Again, every kid will have their own specific needs. What helped us was replacing all the foods that we were giving her with more caloric options. The soft cow cheese got swapped for camembert, which is very caloric. Strawberries were replaced by bananas, and so on. We added an extra meal to her feeding routine, bringing her to 6 meals per day instead of the standard 5. We were chasing her around for snacks and drinks between meals. This is something that actually our dietitian didn't really approve, but in that particular contest, she didn't disapprove either. She knew that it was just temporary because we needed to avoid putting the NG tube back in. I want to mention here the use of screens. While it might help to settle your child and get them to eat more, it might also distract them so much that they'll stop closing their mouth or chewing altogether. We've seen both scenarios with our girl. So during the struggling times, you might want to try screens and see if they improve your child's food intake. I wouldn't use them as a habit though, because otherwise your child might start associating screen time with mealtime, which might be very, very disruptive and unhelpful in the long run. Look, talk about this with your specialist. They know your child better than I do, and they will be able to advise you on this. If you need to track the feeds, you can download the spreadsheet that we've created during our girls' tube reduction. It is very simple to use, it has lots of automated formulas and even charts to track your progress. Trust me, your specialists will be very, very impressed. And you will feel so much more in control of what's happening with your child's meals. My final word of advice is consider all these elements as different channels on a sound mixer. Variety of foods, variety of utensils, tracking the amounts, levels of entertainment, adaptability to boost the intake. All these factors will evolve with time, and it's important that you stay flexible and adapt to your child's needs. Sometimes your child might be going through sleep regressions, teething, growth spurts, stress, developmental changes, illnesses, potty training, and more. All these things might affect your child's feeding experience, and you will have to adjust your strategy accordingly. So never, ever get upset. Stay calm, observe, try to listen and understand what's happening, and change the tolerance of the channels of the mixer, especially during difficult times. Once the emergency is gone, then you can reinstate any routines and habits that you have. If you have any more tips to share with other struggling parents, please write them in the comments. I'm sure they will be very helpful. And if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, as there are lots more videos like this one coming up soon. Thank you. Stay safe. Ciao. And today I want to share with you my feeding. Today I ate and it was good. My second tip is all about utensils. Use appropriate how am I gonna say that? Who made this college choice? Is that even? The second thing I mean by use what is the second thing I mean when I say automatos and change the tolerance of the challenges, no, channels. Zoom. And if you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Big. This big. Oh. Ooh la la, ooh la la, ooh la la la, questo è il valzer del moscerino.